Hello, today I'm here to talk about iOS for music production and for live playing. The reason I'm doing this now is because I think we got to a mature age for iOS that allow us to be very efficient, and at the same time it's a powerful tool. The turning point was the iPad from 2018, the iPad Pro from 2018. This was the first iPad that allowed me to make full productions. I was blown away by how much I could do with it. For example, in the previous generation, I would use Cubase or Audio Pro, but just for sketches, I knew I could not push the machine too much. So I was blown away when I started doing my sketches on the new iPad Pro from 2018, and suddenly I could have 80 tracks, 90 tracks with a lot of plugins and everything running together flawlessly. So I was really impressed. After that, I started using almost exclusively the iPad, and now I use exclusively the iPad for music production, and I also use it for live performances. The first thing you have to understand is that an iPad is not an island, is not an instrument by itself. So you have to connect it to keyboards, you have to connect it to other kinds of controllers, you have to connect it to audio interfaces, you have to connect it to monitors if you want. So the first thing, if you don't have an iPad with USB-C, which all the iPads Pro are now, you still have to use this dongle from Apple, which is the Lightning to USB 3, which also allows you to charge the iPad at the same time that you use it for data transfer. If you have already an iPad with USB-C, so you can easily get some USB-C hubs. Be sure always to check the specifications of the hub to check if they handle all the data, and also it has to have PD or power delivery, which is very important because you don't want to run out of battery in the middle of a concert. You don't want to run out of battery in the middle of your productions at home. This way you ensure that your iPad is always charged, and it's much better for the battery. As soon as the iPad is charged and you connect it to the power supply, the battery is not working anymore. So you are also saving battery life. For audio interfaces, we have a lot of choices. For example, I have here in the studio the Universal Audio Volt, which has 4 ins, 4 outs. It's very versatile. I also have here in the studio the Rode AI1, which is very good sounding but not as versatile. I sometimes use it also as an audio interface for live playing. Of course, you need also a good controller. In this case, I use the Studio Logic Numa X Piano 88, which is not only a very good controller, but it has also its own audio interface. In the studio, I just prefer to use my dedicated audio interfaces. Although it's a very old unit already, I still use my Roland 800 Pro because I like the keys, and it's still a very powerful controller for synths and for Hammond specifically. Of course, it wouldn't be a studio without a good pair of monitors. I use the Yamaha HS8, which gives me the full frequency range. Also, we need a good pair of headphones. In this case, I have 3 in the studio just in case somebody comes to record. The next thing you will need to start doing something, to start managing your apps, is something like AudioBuzz. We are on AudioBuzz 3. AudioBuzz just allows you to manage a lot of apps. For example, I can open something, okay, it's working. Then I can go and open another one, for example this one, okay. So, and then you can pass it through several effects, to several things. So it allows you to manage your apps. This was the first way of managing music apps on iOS, much before the introduction of audio units. Audio units for me, it's the only way to work now. I cannot go back to any other protocol. And if an instrument is not compatible with audio units, I will not even consider it for proper working. So, audio units, please, for all of the apps. What is audio units? Audio units is the equivalent to plugins. You can have the audio units in your DAW and in other live performance apps that allows you to select and manage a lot of audio units in a much better way than you could with AudioBuzz. Then Apple introduced also another protocol with inter-app audio, which for me it was a big mess. It didn't work properly, it was very difficult to configure and to make things working together, and it was really not the best way. Nowadays we use mostly audio unit. The second app I'm going to show you is Camillo, because Camillo works directly with audio units in the live playing. Just by touching one button you can, for example, select an electric piano. By touching another button, you can select another sound, and so on. And this, with all of the settings that you already have, you can drive this instrument through all of the other units' effects. For example, if you want to have an electric piano and then use the electric piano with the chorus or a phaser from another audio unit, you can do this. You can make layers, you can make splits, so you can do a lot of things, and just by the touch of a button you can access these setups that you already created. So it's very powerful, and it's for me the only way now to work live. Another app made to live usage is Keystage. It is more or less the same concept, but I still didn't explore it much. But so that you know, for live usage you have Camillo and you have Keystage. Camillo, it's not used only to control audio units, it can be used also to control hardware instruments. They have already pre-established a lot of MIDI mappings for other hardware instruments, so it's really powerful. Let's talk about DAWs, Digital Audio Workstation. And for producing at home, I really like Cubase. It's the equivalent to Cubase in iPad. When Cubase 3 was launched, it was very problematic. It would freeze, it would have a lot of problems, missing tracks. It was a mess. Now it's running very well. It still freezes once in a while, but yeah, that's okay. I can live with that. It was always much worse on the PC or on the Mac with all the other DAWs than it is still with Cubase 3 here. So what we have here now, I think it's almost a full-blown workstation. I don't miss any of the other things. I have a lot of insert effects slot. I have a lot of send effects slot. I have infinite tracks for MIDI, infinite tracks for audio, extensive MIDI and audio editing. So, you know, I don't miss anything here. So for me, this works really well. I'm just showing you here something that I'm doing and just scrolling through the tracks. I still only have 40 tracks here, or 39 tracks, I think. It will have much more, but it's just to show you how this works flawlessly. Okay, so this is Cubase 3, powerful, simple to use, and if you are used to use Cubase on the computer, this is perfect for you. You will not miss anything. Apple launched recently Logic Pro. Logic Pro is for some considered to be more powerful than Cubase. I agree, but I don't need it. I think it's very clear that the instruments inside of Logic Pro are much better than the instruments inside of Cubase 3. However, I don't ever use the internal instruments because, for example, yeah, they have a very good Hammond on the Logic Pro, but I have even better with other apps that I will show you later as audio units, and I can use audio units here also. So I don't really have the need to the better internal instruments from Logic Pro. So I still use the Cubase 3. It's very powerful now, much more powerful than the other versions, and for me it's the best. You still have Audio Pro. This was one of the first really powerful digital audio workstations for iOS. However, I think they are not updating this since so long. This is now not working really well anymore. I wish they would take care of this app. If they do, maybe I return to use it. As it is now, I think I will stick only with Cubase 3. GarageBand is also a possibility. I never considered it as a serious workstation, but you can still use it if you're used to it. You can do almost everything that you do with Logic Pro, almost, and you can do almost everything that you can do with Cubase 3 with a different approach. Now, instruments. The first instrument for me that you should get always is a piano, of course. All the pianos in all the DAWs, for me, they are bad. So I'm not using them. Not even the ones in Logic Pro, and much less the ones in Cubase 3. So for me, there are 3 or 4 very good pianos. I invite you to watch my video about acoustic pianos. Now I'm just having a fast preview here. So my first really good instrument, my first really good piano for iOS was Ravenscroft 275. It still is, although there's competition now. It's really an incredibly expressive instrument with all the simulations possible. For example, if you do this, the resonance of all the strings resonating with each other, it's very well done. Or you have also note by note resonance. For example, if I do this, it's really well done. It acts exactly as an acoustic instrument. The release is also amazing. In every note. Another instrument that works also really well, although not at the same level because it doesn't have all of these simulations, is pure piano. You have also pure upright if you want to have an instrument with a little bit more character. But for me, the best of the best, and this is not debatable anymore, so it's Pianotech. It's also the more expensive, but it's so good. Of course, this has also all the simulations as you have in Ravenscroft. I still think the release on the Ravenscroft is better, but this is better overall and better playability and better dynamics, better everything. So this is for acoustic pianos. Now for electric pianos, we also have Pianotech. So it's really nice. piano tech is growing for me as the best thing that ever happened for PC, for Mac, or for iOS, because it's the same here. We have exactly the same engine that we have on the computer. We have exactly the same price. This makes it very pricey. I know now I have all the complete piano tech. It's very pricey, but for me it is worthy. So it's a really amazing instrument that I'm starting using a lot. The next one for me, it's Vtines. It's simpler, but it's a little bit rougher, and it works really, really, really well. It's really good. Cannot now exemplify or show everything because I want to go to other instruments, but it's really good. Another company that is doing very good electric pianos is gospel musicians. Everything that they have, their neo soul, keys, studio, or their pure synths platinum also has now a very, very good electric piano. Inside of Korg module, you also have very good electric pianos. We covered pianos, electric pianos. Now let's cover general sounds. Korg module also have good pianos, not on the same level of Pianotech or Ravenscroft. Also have electric pianos, again, not at the same level as Pianotech or Vtines or other things from gospel musicians. But they have everything, so you can use it as one module that does everything. But again, they are not the best. Most probably with this Capro strings you have all of the articulations, orchestra instruments and articulations available, so it's very good in this aspect. We have Wurlitzer, we have Triton sounds here, you have also synthesizers inside of, with very limited editing, but you have some editing possibilities. Pretty fine. They are pretty fine here on this synthesizer. You not only have the sounds by themselves, but you can also, for example, program yourself your set list. So I have a set list with these sounds now, but then I can change to my predefined electric piano, and then go to the clavier, or go immediately to an organ, or go to my acoustic piano immediately and return to the. I can also have notes. So if you want something very simple to use with very good quality, although not the best at everything or at anything, but with very good quality nonetheless, that allows you to do almost everything that you would need on a live performance. So it's Korg module. Of course, you have to buy it. It's not cheap. I mean, it can be cheap, the app itself, but then when you start adding all of the expansions, yes, that's not a cheap thing to have, but it's worth it. Now, another general purpose model for me is Bithawk. All of these apps that I'm talking about, they are audio units compatible. This is important because then I can use all of these apps inside of Camillo or in iPadOS, and they work differently. For example, Bithawk is more or less a production platform, so you can record, we can do a lot of things, and it has its own sounds. But I never use it because I use Cubase, and I don't like the way of this way of working for producing. It's not a complete production unit. So, but the sounds on it and all the expansions that they have, they are amazing. They are really good. I can show you more or less everything that I have here. I'm not playing now them because it would be too long. What I use more from Bithawk are the drums. They have a lot of different drums from suitable for different genders, and not only drums but also drum loops, which can be assigned to different tempos. So I really enjoy Bithawk, but it has also other things very good. But I use them only as audio units inside of Camillo or Cubase 3. You have also more general purpose sound modules, like for example the very old BS16i sample tank also has nice things. Pure Synths Platinum also is very versatile. The ones I use more for general purpose are Korg module and Bithawk. Now for Hammonds, here we are already in a very good level. Although we don't have the same amount of apps that we have for the PC or for the Mac, we have already some that are really good. We started out with Galileo 2, which was very good when I started working with it, but now we have Hammond B3X, which is excellent. GSI gave us VB3M, which is the same sound that you have on Krummer organs. Not the latest one, not the latest version, but even like this a little bit more. So sometimes the latest version doesn't mean it is the best version, it is the best thing available. And in this case I really also check my videos about electric pianos and my video also about Hammond. For example, for strings we have iSymphonic, all the sounds from the orchestra and all the articulations. These are not full dynamic piano, but they work really well. Trumpets. Now let's talk about synthesizers. Since the beginning we had already a lot of amazing synthesizers. And the proof is that Moog was developing synthesizers since a long time. I have a lot of things from Moog, for example. Moog itself, Model 15. Complete modular synthesizer that you can assign everything to everywhere, and then you can mess up with this if you know what you are doing. You have the Model D, also from Moog. So this is from Moog itself, so it's not a recreation done by some third-party company. No, they decided to offer the synthesizer here as a software to the iPad. Is it the same as the original analog synths? I guess not. It is close, most probably it's very close, and I don't care if it's similar or not. It is very good at it doesn't matter if it is similar, even if it's different, but it works really well. One of the first synthesizers that really impressed me was Sunriser. It was the richest synthesizer sound on iOS when I first saw this. It's very old now already, but it's still very, very good. But to be honest, what I use more, it's something really simple, which is called Poison 202. So I really like the simplicity of this synthesizer, and at the same time it's so versatile. It has a very classical architecture, so it has two oscillators with ring, cross modulation, sync. It has very good filter. It has also very good modulation. It has very good effect sessions also. It's very simple, but it's so easy to program. I feel like if I need something in 1 minute, I can just going from scratch, I can make the sound that I want to make here. So it really works really well because of its simplicity, but the sound is punchy and it's nice. It's not the most analog sounding synthesizer on iOS, but for me this is not a requirement, so it sounds good. Of course, you have other synthesizers available, much more. You can take a look at some of the things that I have here at my disposal. One thing that was really interesting also is this Thor, which is exactly the same that you have for the computer, which has this very good formant filter, which it is very nice to simulate these voices. These are not samples. A very powerful synthesizer also, but I use it more for this kind of things when I want to play with this filter, this formant filter, which is very nice to have. We have much more synthesizers. We have synthesizer inside of Cubase, we have synthesizer inside of Logic Pro, we have synthesizers inside of Korg modules. So for synthesizers you don't miss anything. We have FM synthesizer, a lot of FM synthesizers. Also, a lot of very weird synthesizers with different characteristics. For example, from Korg, I have the complete wave station with all the sound cards that would cost fortunes at that time. I have also the complete M1 synthesizer. So don't worry, you are well covered with all kinds of sounds. And for synthesizers, forget it. You have the best here. For pianos, you already have the best with Pianotech, with Ravenscroft. For electric pianos, yeah, you also have almost the best. Pianotech is covering a lot of bases here for the best things. For Hammonds, you have the best, for sure. One thing which I still think that we still don't have the best is for drums. For example, I love these drums. I love, for example, Drum Perfect Pro. I love the way it works. Funk Drummer, for example, this company has also a lot of other things, like Soft Drummer it's even more or less the same user interface and everything, but they are not audio units. I'm not using them, and when I do, it's such a mess and such a confusing to synchronize it to make it work. No, please, audio units. Transform everything in audio units. We don't want inter-app audio anymore. Audio bus is still a nice thing to have. Come on, inter-app, no, please. Audio units is the way to go. I'm not working with anything anymore that is not audio unit compatible. To do all of this, you also need effects. You have audio effects. I'm not going through all the audio effects. I'm just now showing you a little bit what I have here. These audio effects all works as audio units. I love the just making an exception here. I love this ERS. You have the reverb. They are modeled from a very famous reverb from the past, and it really looks and sounds good. Of course, I'm not using it like this. I'm using it as a audio unit, or you can say plugin in my DAW. But yeah, it's really an amazing reverb. The same for the chorus. and everything. So from ERS, they are very good. Plate reverb, string reverb, compressors, distortions, so everything. We are really well covered in the effects department also. GSI is doing interesting things. I think especially their modeled instruments are really good. So the organ is already completely modeled. Now also they have this amazing clavinet. I wish they would go for this in this path, just creating modeled instruments, because I don't think they are really doing very well with the sampled instruments. Okay, another thing that is modeled, the vibes. Okay, this is also really well done. I'm not going through all the presets, so you have thousands of presets. We have the preset, you can modify the sound a lot because they are modeled. They are really good. I wish they would intensify more and put their attention more on this modeled instruments and less on trying to compete with other sampled instruments. It's really very well done. That's it. If I'm forgetting anything, or if you have a suggestion about a more detailed video about any of these subjects, please let me know. Leave it in the comments. I would like to hear your opinions and if you enjoyed this video. So, bye. See you the next one.